I will be talking about 10 financial goals for millennials in 2020. New year, new you. Let's get it. The first goal is to spend less than what you earn. This is really the most important step to achieving any other financial goal that involves increasing your wealth. Create a gap between what you earn and what you spend. Now this honestly sounds pretty simple, it's very basic advice, but it's a lot harder to implement than you might realize. The majority of people are living paycheck to paycheck, so even saving $100 every single month puts you way ahead of the curve. Then over time, be sure to amp the amount you save up. Financial goal number 2 is to save a $1,000 emergency fund. You never know what's going to happen. Life hits, you have to undergo surgery, you might need car repairs. Who knows, honestly. It's always great to have money saved up in an emergency fund for events like this. Keep that money in a high yield savings account and do not touch it until, well, emergencies. If $1,000 isn't enough for you or you just want to save more, typical advice is to save 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. Now, if you have a couple other things in place, such as a real estate property, you'll need to increase that number because of emergencies that could happen in your units. I think 3 to 6 months is a solid goal to hit. If you're interested in bank churning, which is opening new bank accounts for the sole purpose of getting sign-up bonuses, then you will need typically about $10,000 or $15,000 to get the really good ones. I personally just have $10,000 in a Capital One savings account, and I get $200 just for doing that. But I would say to not put more than 6 months worth of living expenses into your emergency fund, because I think that money could go elsewhere, such as the stock market, and invested through low-cost index funds and actually be making quite a decent amount of money for you instead of just laying around in a 2% high yield savings. Financial goal 3 is to pay off all credit card debt. A lot of people with high interest debt have it because of credit cards. 55% of Americans who have credit cards have credit card debt, averaging 15% APR or annual percentage rate. This is the highest it's ever been. Each day you don't pay that off, you owe more and more. It's in your best interest to go ahead and just pay all of your credit card debt right away. The next goal is to get that employer match for your 401k. And if you're just about to start a new job, I would encourage you to just set that percentage so you're getting that employer match in full. So say your employer will contribute up to 5% into a 401k, then automatically just have 5% going into there, and then you're getting another 5% from your employer on top of it. Not only is this good for saving up retirement and that a little bit of saving money now will exponentially increase in the future, it's also what some people like to call free money. I personally like to think of it as money that's already earned, and then if you don't take that employer match, you're just leaving it on the table. If you start your job with that 5% being taken out of your paycheck every single payday, then you'll learn to live on the amount that you're actually bringing home. It's easier to adjust. So over time, amp that up. If you really want to go ham on it, contribute the max, which is $19.5 thousand every single year into your 401k. By doing that, because 401ks are tax deferred, you're being taxed on a lot less money throughout the year, and you're saving a shitload for retirement, which is just awesome. It's super awesome. On a similar note, contribute $6,000 into your Roth IRA for the year. This is the Roth IRA cap. You can't contribute more than $6,000, and this contribution is with after-tax dollars, so the money you take home after all the deductions are being made. The awesome thing about Roth IRAs is that your money and investments grow tax-free, and then eventually when you take it out, all of your money will be tax-free. If you want to learn how to invest, there are a ton of resources out there. I also made a minimalist approach to investing, which is how I invest here. But at the end of the day, the number one contributing factor to how much money you earn is simply how much money you contribute in the first place. Financial goal number 6 for 2020 is to explore alternative housing options. Now, you may love where you live and this might not even cross your mind, but for a lot of people, there could be a better offer just right around the corner. It doesn't hurt to just go on Zillow, Reddit, Facebook, and look for potentially better housing opportunities. Just a little bit of searching and touring might save you hundreds of dollars a month. And over the course of a year, that really adds up. Financial goal number 7 is to get a new credit card. If you don't currently have a credit card, get one. You should especially get a beginner credit card that has no annual fees. This is very important because for most people, their credit history starts when they get their first credit card. The longer you have positive credit history, the higher your credit score. And this comes into play when you apply for mortgages, apply to better credit cards, and even apply to certain jobs where they do a background check. For those of you who already have a credit card, getting another credit card will only help you with your credit score. But that's if you're responsible and pay off your credit card in full every single month. If you struggle with money and know that if you get a credit card, you're more inclined to spend more than what you make, then you simply shouldn't get a credit card. It'll only hurt you more than help. But for those of you who are financially stable and responsible, getting a credit card, especially ones with massive rewards, can be awesome. I personally love getting travel credit cards where the sign-up bonuses are very hefty. I've gotten travel credit cards such as the Capital One Venture and Chase Sapphire Preferred, as well as some of their business cards like the Ink Preferred. And I really only get one credit card every 3-4 months or so. But in 2019, I was able to accrue a couple $1,000s worth in travel points. It honestly makes me able to travel without having to spend lots of money. The next goal is to read one personal finance book. Now, when I first started getting into personal finance, I read every book I could get my hands on. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos and listened to a bunch of personal finance podcasts. But if I had to recommend 3 personal finance books, one would be The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, which is basically explaining you can create a lifestyle where you work only 4 hours a week, and this is done by building passive income streams. So you can be chilling on the beach if you wanted to, working 4 hours on your laptop, and then making the same amount of money or more than you would at a regular 9-to-5 job. This is a great book for mindset and what you could achieve when you really work for it over a long time. Another book I'd recommend is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. I actually got to see him be the keynote speaker at FinCon of 2019. And this book is fantastic because it teaches you step by step how to ask for a raise and actually get it. And then also teaches you how to spend. A lot of personal finance advisors, gurus talk about how to save money, clipping coupons, getting a beater car, or getting a cheaper rent. But a lot of people don't talk about how to actually spend the money you earn. And Ramit loves to talk about cutting away spending on things you don't care for and then lavishly spending things on the things you do. And lastly, I would recommend The Simple Path to Wealth by Jim J.L. Collins. Now, he has online his blog of the investing series, and you can get all of that information for free. But if you'd like to buy the book, then I'd recommend it too. It just goes more in depth. But J.L. Collins really explains investing well. For the majority of people, they don't care about personal finance. They don't want to think about personal finance every single second of their waking day. They just know personal finance is important. They want to set up the systems in place and then go ahead and live their life. J.L. Collins basically recommends people who are fairly young and investing for the long term, decades, to go 100% into a total US stock market index fund. He personally loves VTSAX, which is an index fund in Vanguard, and that index fund basically has a portion of every single US company. It's honestly a fantastic read. He answers a lot of people's questions, such as why go 100% into the US and not buy international stocks? His answer to that is basically the top US companies are international companies. Coca-Cola, Apple, Facebook are all globally influential, and if those top companies do poorly, then the entire world follows. Financial goal number 9 is to work towards a pay increase. And I Will Teach You to Be Rich, Ramit says, there's a limit to how much you can save, but there's no limit to how much you can earn. A lot of limiting factors that people say to not try and get a raise is that they can't negotiate, the economy is terrible. If I just work harder, my boss will notice and just give me a pay raise. And we often settle for a fraction of what we deserve. People have this idea that you gotta storm into your boss's office and demand a raise. And ultimately, that's no bueno. Sit down, ask your supervisor how you're performing, and then what you can do to improve and be a great employee. After listening to what your boss has to say, go ahead and say you're going to accomplish those things, and at the end of that, you'd like to discuss a potential raise. Plant the idea in their head and then actually show results. Say you do email marketing and your boss told you to get a 10% conversion rate. And over the next couple of months, you consistently pull out 15%. After a couple of months, circle back to your boss and present those results. And then go ahead and bring up that raise you talked about months before. And your boss is expecting it. You told them that you wanted to discuss a potential raise months ago. They told you the results they wanted, and you showed that you surpassed them. At that point, if you're a boss and an employee showed that to you, you're gonna give them a raise. And if they don't, you're just not valued and you can just go and leave. The fastest way to increase your wealth is with your active income, and that's through your job, increasing your salary, potentially getting a salary raise, or hopping companies and getting a huge salary boost. But for more ambitious and entrepreneurial people, you should start a side hustle. For those of you that want to earn extra cash and be your own boss, this is the perfect thing for you to start. Now, there are tons of side hustles that you can be doing for active income, aka trading your time for money. You can tutor, you can do freelance photography, you can do music or comedy gigs. I prefer passive income and building a business that has a model where you can honestly just set it up over time, eventually just step back and let it run on its own. Some passive income ideas include selling on Etsy, Amazon FBA, starting a blog or a YouTube channel. The thing about passive income is you have a product or some content that you just put a lot of work in creating it and then put it out there, and then over time people will buy it, people will listen, and you profit from that. Passive income will replace your active income where you literally don't have to do anything. You just let it run. And that is all 10 financial goals for 2020. Comment down below what your favorite and what you will be working on in the future. And go ahead and give this video a like, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.